When life gives you tomatoes, make pizza sauce. Oh, pizza sauce or pasta sauce. I love both. And one of the best recipes that I have found yet for pizza sauce or pasta sauce is this Mrs. Wage's seasoning packets. They are just delicious. If you've never tried them, they also have some pickle mixes and some different things. So today we're gonna can some pizza sauce with some fresh tomatoes that I just got off the vines. My tomato plants are finally starting to produce. So we are gonna make some delicious homemade pizza sauce. Now in our family, we have grandkids come over a lot and they love pizza. They love spaghetti, they love all of it. And every year I use up all of my pasta sauce and pizza sauce. So we are gonna make them a whole bunch of it. So we're gonna start off by measuring about 6 pounds of fresh tomatoes, and I'm gonna pick my most ripe tomatoes. Okay, that's what 6 pounds of tomatoes looks like. So I'm gonna go ahead and start getting these ready to make into sauce. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna bring some water up to a boil, and then we're gonna scald these tomatoes for about 2 to 3 minutes. We just wanna loosen the skins off, and that way we can go ahead and start making our sauce. So in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead, these have all been washed, but I'm gonna cut out the cores and just get them ready for canning. So as soon as we've got our water up to a boil, I'm gonna drop my tomatoes in a few at a time. And I'm just gonna let these sit in here until the skins start to pull away. And once they do, then I'm gonna take them out and I'm gonna put them in an ice water bath. So this is really an easy process. At this point, you just take your tomatoes and you're just gonna, I just kind of pull the skins off. They come off really easily. Okay, now that I've got my tomatoes all peeled, all I'm gonna do is put these into the pan. I'm just gonna drop them in. Now you can seed them as well if you choose to. For me, I don't really care. It's not gonna make much of a difference for me. You're gonna add your Mrs. Wage's seasoning packet. I'm gonna pour this over the tomatoes. Like this. And then it says to add 5 tablespoons of sugar. And this is really just to cut the acidity in the tomatoes. Now it helps having homegrown tomatoes. And that's all there is to it. This is easy, easy, easy. So I'm actually gonna let these cook down a little bit, and then I'm gonna take my immersion blender and I'm just gonna blend all this together. And boy, it smells so good. Boy, oh boy, does that ever smell good. So I'm gonna bring you back in a few minutes and just show you the next step as soon as we get these tomatoes cooking a little bit. Okay, our tomatoes have started boiling, so I'm just gonna give them a little stir. As you can see, there's a lot of liquid in tomatoes. And so I think at this point, sometimes when I'm making pasta sauce, I take the seeds out, but I'll be honest with you, most of the time, I just honestly don't think it matters. Once everything's cooked up and blended up, I just don't think you need it. So I'm gonna use my immersion blender and just get this down to a consistency where it's more like a sauce. Now I've got this pretty well pureed. There's a little bit more I need to do. This is just using an immersion blender. You can see how nice this comes out. So my sauce has started to boil. So I am actually gonna turn this down so that it's simmering. And I'm gonna go ahead and time this for anywhere between 20 to 25 minutes. I just want this to cook down and be a really nice sauce consistency. Now about every 5 minutes or so, you're just gonna come and give this a good stir. You just wanna make sure that nothing's sticking to the bottom. And look how dark red this is turning just from this little bit of cooking. This is it's just a wonderful sauce recipe that they've provided through this Mrs. Wages. I've never used them until last year, and I'll tell you what, I am just very impressed. So I really like using these 4-ounce jelly jars for my pizza sauce, and the reason is because one of these jars will make just the perfect amount for a medium-sized pizza. So I'm gonna fill these jars up to 1 inch of the top of the jar, which is basically a nice scoop of pizza sauce. Now I usually do quite a few of these little 4-ounce jars. I try to do a couple of the pint jars as well. All right, for these I do take a little bit of vinegar and I clean the tops of the jars because there is a lot of oil for some reason in tomatoes. And so I just try to get these nice and clean. All right, and then I just tighten them up, finger tight, and then I just set them back in the canner. Okay, so we have everything in the canner. We're gonna bring it back up to a boil, and as soon as it starts boiling, we're gonna time it for 40 minutes. Then we're gonna turn off the stove, let it sit in the water bath canner for 5 additional minutes, and then we're gonna take everything out. So after letting my pizza sauce cook for the time that was required, and then I let it sit in the water bath canner an additional 5 minutes, this is exactly how it looks now that it's done. So I have tons of pizza sauce. The next recipe I'll be making with my tomatoes is some pasta sauce. Thank you for joining me today while we made this Mrs. Wages pizza sauce. We cooked it, we canned it, we used all tomatoes fresh from our garden, all organic tomatoes. And I did have a little bit left over. We are having a little pizza party tomorrow for the grandkids and one of their little cousins. And so we're gonna be making some pizza for the grandkids. So if you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing, give me a thumbs up, and I hope you'll join me next time. And I'm also gonna link a couple of videos on how I make my pizza crust in case you're interested. I do have a really good bread maker pizza crust recipe. So have a great night, everybody. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.